They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right. That's right. One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. The fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles will make it official. I'm capturing every crack and surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage, safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood cell. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember YAHANNA's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body. You fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress. She a bombshell. Revenge is served cold. I just hope they make an oxtail. Glock fresh out the box. I swear got that new car smell. Made myself a ton in the world of mad shooters. That was designed fast for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is
it up. All right, welcome to another episode of the conflict zone. All right, so this week now we're looking at. Want to spend some time look at Queen City. was a black community that was right where the Pentagon is built. You know, somehow wherever black people are, you know, there's always, it's always good for some road or highway or what call it again, lake or something. They always see fit to put something there wherever. Like, I mean, you already poor already, you know. And then you have those people who just keep on disturbing your life, disturbing your poor life. Where are you to? How are you? And then this the same people tell you, oh, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But how are you to do that when you can't have any abiding city? You know what I mean by abiding city? You cannot. I mean, where can you abide? Where can you stay and develop? It is always, this, wherever you are is always taken away from you. Then, I mean, how is it that you are going to develop other people? And that has been the whole, it was happening in Jamaica more, I mean, right in the time when they're having the reconstruction. Whatever you see happening in America, there's a reflection in Jamaica. It might not reflect the same way, but it's as if the Jamaican politicians know that what is happening there is oppression. So they just find another way to turn up the oppression in places, well, the Caribbean in general, without raising much alarm among people. I remember when the story behind Never knows, when that woman with royalties connection, you know, just can't be if a drive past every day, looking at this big house owned by a black man. Or the government cut him a different road. Anyway, she was looking to the back of the road cut to the back of the big house. She didn't even know that it was the back part of the house she was looking at. But this is the situation that there are other people are faced with. And this is so for one reason only. Only because we are the most highest chosen people. We are the most highest people. And then there are those who believe that because they are our identity and our land, that we should stay in the situation that we are in. So they do everything, spend a bag of money to keep you where you are, the situation that you are in. Jamaica, USA, Haiti, not by chance Haiti in this gang warfare. That's not by chance. And that is by design. I mean, Colombia with its drug cartels, Mexico, Texas, California, all them places was once Mexico's land. The Mexican government took that away. Mm. And then these other nations that are around us, they're either ignorant to what has happened to us, or them is just like the other person, then just don't care. because they themselves choose to come in your presence as well and further your oppression. Right, we're going to look at this article was from the BBC and it's about Queen City. We only have an hour, so we'll just jump right into it. We'll look at Queen City and other articles. So Queen City, this is from BBC. What's the name of this website? BBC.com. British Broadcasting Corporation. Queen City, the lost black community swallowed up by the Pentagon. A thriving all-black community flourished just outside Washington, D.C. until its nearly 1,000 residents were forcibly displaced. Now, this little-known city is finally being honored. All right, so back then, yeah, you would have had probably what do you call it now? Some shantytown, developed in housing style within that era, but like the history says, it was a thriving black community, meaning that they were doing quite fine in the 40s. So by today, they would have, pulled themselves up by their own bootstrap and have made some financial progress that they don't have to be people depending on government for housing or for welfare. After the government of the US destroyed over 100 black towns and communities, I mean, where are you left as a people to strive? In today's day now, you go and you want to do a business among any one of them communities, white community or regular cities. First of all, they're going to have to rent. Man, you know what rental is like? Alright. Now, this little known city is finally being honored. The stout jug-like building rises 35 feet above the greenery of Arlington, Virginia Metropolitan Park. A green pathless oasis set with Amazon's new HQ2 headquarters, constructed from 5,000 old red bricks. The structure feels both industrial and earthy, and stepping inside the small space reveals hundreds of glistening glazed ceramic bulbs, cascading from above in waves of blue, green, and brown. This is Queen City, an art installation paying homage to 903 African American residents of the eponymous all black community. What does that mean? EPONY. so that word means a person giving their name to something, named after a particular person or group. So named after a particular person or group means named after African Americans. All black community as well as the surrounding East Arlington neighborhood who were forcibly removed from their homes in the early 1940s to make way for the construction of the Pentagon. What they did to us was an atrocity, said 93-year-old Dr. William Bowling, who remembers his childhood in Queen City before he and his family were kicked out. There was an alleyway with small houses on each side. We had a black fire department. Black. We had a black fire department, churches, barbershops, all kinds of businesses. So you see, this is why in this forum now we look at these communities because in the conflict zone we look at businesses. But over the years in the Caribbean, among our people, blacks, Hispanics, and natives, businesses are always getting hit. They always a hit our business. I mean, we have never been allowed to settle. 40 years, so if we get 40 years to settle without disturbance, that would be glorious. We never get that. So this person now is giving a little history of it. Said there was a black fire department. So we had black fire, they had black firemen. Just like in Jamaica, we never see a white fireman in Jamaica. They are always blacks. Churches, that's the other thing. Every one of these communities have church, had church. I've come across a story that was telling us that black churches, their sermons were written by the U.S. government, were written by the government in the U.S. back in those days. And there's other researchers say that was not the case. I don't know. Dealing with the devil, so who knows? I'm more to believe that that was the case. Black fire department, churches, businesses, black barbershop, what kind of business? Community stores. He said, recalling how he and his friends used to play and walk to school together. And while there was no running water or electricity common in white neighborhoods at the time, Queen City residents made do in their tight-knit community. It was like one big family, Pauline said. So Queen City was really just a little less than 5 acres of land. But on that less than 5 acres of land, what the blacks did was to put businesses on it and houses. And about 1,000 people live there. And they were growing, meaning that they were working their way out of poverty. 2.5 miles away at the Black Heritage Museum of Arlington, Queen City's little known story is highlighted through photos and artifacts. According to Dr. Scott Taylor, a third generation Arlingtonian and the museum's president, the Lost City's tour starts at Arlington House, the neoclassical mansion established in the early 1800s by George Washington Parke, the step-grandson of Martha Washington, who was raised by George and Martha Washington, enslaved individuals from George Washington's estate, Mount Vernon, built Arlington House. Okay. Before working on the property and in the home. General Robert E. Lee, who in 1831 married Mary Custis, heiress of Arlington House, lived here in the years leading up to the U.S. Civil War. Okay. After joining the Confederacy, Lee left, never to return. After many years of focusing on the Custis Lee story, Arlington House recently has been reimagined to encompass the voices of African Americans who lived and labored there too. Another Arlington Right, so Queen City was, I think it came up of Arlington. So, see what it says. After the Emancipation Proclamation, freedom slave, yeah, 1st of January 1863, freed enslaved people in Confederate states. The federal government established Freedman's Village in the Arlington House property, which would later become Arlington National Cemetery. The planned community with clapboard houses, schools, churches, roads became a thriving village for formerly enslaved workers. The farmers and writers, let me see the thing. Everywhere they put us back then and say, all right, I'm not getting no land, but I can settle here. We put up schools, we put up houses, and roads. We started to thrive. Reformer and writer Frederick Douglass, after he visited an abolitionist sojourner Truth, who lived in the village for a year and a half, beginning in 1864, advised villagers on their rights. At that time, this is another thing. You are a black person, you have no rights. So in 1864, they knew they had rights in these villages. But by 1947, World War II, it closed. By that time, many of these villages have already disappeared. Arlington was 75% to 80% black, Taylor said. There was so much black activity then. People were learning to read and write. They were buying property, starting businesses. John Syphax, an African American politician born free in Virginia, became a delegate. This scared white people. That's why the federal government closed Fremont Village. So black people started getting involved in politics. By 1900, the thriving village had been dismantled, with few homes and business owners fairly compensated. Today, little remains other than a historical plaque in Foxcroft Heights Park overlooking Arlington National Cemetery near its original location. Many former residents left for other black neighborhoods in Arlington or Washington, D.C. In 1892. Mount Olive Baptist Church, which was founded in Fremont Village, bought 2 acres just down the road and sold lots to hosted congregants. 12 years later, developer bought 27 more acres. By 1940, more than 200 African American households lived in this new community, which became known as East Arlington. Queen City was officially a 4.5-acre area within East Arlington, though the whole area is often referred to as Queen City. So Queen City was in East Arlington. But with World War II looming, the United States required a new military headquarters. The War Department was renting 17 buildings across Washington, D.C., and they needed to consolidate. Federal eyes fell on nearby Arlington. The fate of the area's African American community was in jeopardy once again. So, I mean, America have so many land where until now is empty. Acres of empty land. All now. All these places that they would see to develop. Could I go find empty lands, put them on and leave the black town, leave the black people alone. Just like how you leave the Chinese and the other nation to flourish. There was an agricultural farm and a naval base in the area, said Dr. Alfred Taylor. No relation to Dr. Scott Taylor, who was born in Arlington, historical Black Green Valley neighborhood in 1934, and has written 3 books about Arlington's Black history. Arlington County signed to the Arlington Cemetery, they were then buried this whole of us. It used to be a black community too. Yeah. Arlington County signed the contract to sell the land in September 1941, kicking off around the clock construction. At first, only the Pentagon building went up, and Queen City residents watched in fascination. They were not told until the very last moment, in early February 1942, that they were losing their homes to eminent domain for the construction of roads and parks areas for the Pentagon's 35,000 employees. They were given weeks to find a place to go, said Dr. Alfred Taylor. Then they burned their houses to the ground. The real damage is that it broke up homes and families. They had nowhere to go. No much different from slavery. Nowhere to go. Alright, I also have a video.
The year was 1940. President Roosevelt watched with rising alarm as Nazi Germany rolled through northern Europe and forced France into capitulation. America was preparing for war, adding more than 1 million men to its armed forces and transforming its economy. But it lacked the nerve center to direct the massive effort. So the Department of War proposed a plan for an enormous structure which could house the expanding bureaucracy. They selected a location just outside of D.C., a stretch of federally owned land in Northern Virginia along the Potomac River. The site was bordered by Arlington National Cemetery to the west, and to the southwest, the black community of East Arlington, also known as Queen City. Queen City had roots. The first families moved to the land in 1892, after the federal government closed Arlington's Freedmen's Village, a camp for freed slaves founded during the Civil War. By 1940, some 200 households lived in the neighborhood, around 900 people, alongside small businesses, a trolley stop, and 3 churches. Some residents had even built their own houses. George Volin, born and raised in Queen City, had founded a fire department there. While Queen City was poor and lacked certain amenities like running water, it was a real happy, solid community, said Volin. The contract for the construction of the Pentagon was awarded on September 11, 1941, and an ambitious 24-hour construction project began the same day. The undertaking required nearly 700,000 tons of sand and gravel, and over 7 times the amount of concrete used in the Empire State Building. Up to 15,000 workers worked on it during a single shift, and the pace only increased after Pearl Harbor catapulted the U.S. into the conflict. Queen City was deeply involved in the war effort. Young men from the community had enlisted, while others, like George Volin, worked for the Department of War. They watched the buildings rise with curiosity.
So these people were, they have this Arlington, Queen City, and they were there watching them building the Pentagon out there. You know, they didn't tell them that they need that their land were going to be taken away. Many of them even got work on the construction of the Pentagon building. By the time they finish the buildings, man, then time come for the roads and the surrounding parts of, you know, the beautification aspect of the grounds, landscaping, right? Then came the landscaping time, man. Then he left Queen City for that.
Had no idea their lives were about to be turned upside down. We just thought they were going to build a building over in the field, Volin told the Evening Star decades later. Then they came to building the roads, and that's when they took all the houses. In February of 1942, the federal government announced that Queen City would be demolished to make room for a series of highway interchanges that could transport war workers to and from the Pentagon. Residents had to vacate by March 1st, less than 1 month. They protested for more time and compensation, sending a letter to First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, and with her help, getting a hearing before the House of Representatives, but to no avail. Construction started before many had even vacated their homes. And on April 17th, 1942, the War Department burned Queen City to the ground. For the residents of Queen City, the displacement was devastating. But for some who worked on the project, the demolition of an entire black community was a positive good. Highway planner Jay Downer claimed that one of the big points of the road network was that it required destroying the slum triangle. This plan takes out some troublesome darky slave cabins and cleans up that strip. Homeowners received up to $2,052, while renters received nothing. Some residents moved in with family members, while others were resettled in 2 trailer park communities in Arlington, which endured for years after the war. The Pentagon was completed on January 15, 1943. 40% of the workers who built it were black. It was the largest office building in the world, housing 33,000 workers who helped guide the U.S. to victory in World War II. But for the residents of Queen City, it wasn't enough to give their lives and labor to the war effort. They were forced to give up the community they had built, too.
Right, you know, that's the story of our life. That's the story of our life as a people, you know. So what do we do? Shalom sis. Princess Nazam Hannah Jewel. Welcome, welcome to the show. You know, to be good if we can accept calling, you know, there's a number, the WhatsApp number, I'll let you know. No matter where you're calling from, the States, wherever, you can call and share some of the things that you know about what we're talking about. I mean, in the times when we used to, as black people, because it's not today that we are traveling or are migrating to where Judah is, right? Back in Marcus Garvey time and during and before Marcus Garvey time and even after Marcus Garvey time, many blacks been traveling to America. Where do we go? When we travel, we go where in the black communities. We weren't traveling to America and going in white communities. We're going in black communities. So we here were even now. When I go up, when I travel to the States, we're together. The black communities. We experience what Judah experienced. I mean, we are not Judites, we are Benjamites, but we are the Jew as well. You know, the Jew from Jerusalem, the original Jew was Judah, Benjamin, and half a Levite, really. So there were Levites. That's why so many Asians were in these communities, right? So you know they were targeting Judites. Many of us West Indian and Asians got caught up in their little wickedness that they were pitching on Judah. And as a matter of fact, what you see happening in America now, there's preparation for World War III. They know World War III is coming in. They know it. So they are planning, they are preparing, I should say, for what is coming. Alright, I want to touch some scriptures now. There we go. Zechariah 11, 4-5. I'm not saying 45. Zechariah 11, yeah. Zechariah 11, chapter 4. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter. Verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Any one of these black towns that you talk about, no. You just never hear them say, you know, you should be compensating the descendants. I mean, these are talks, not about slavery. You know. When I talk about slavery, them say, none of us was alive when slavery was happening, so we don't think we should be paid. You know, the foolish stuff. But then anyway, post-slavery, destruction of these all black communities and towns, loss of revenue that these families would have. I mean, a family could have a little business there and pass it on to them children. When you destroy these towns, that can happen. Come back me. You might pass it and it might be successful, it might not be successful. But the fact is you are able to pass it on. When they destroy these towns, you have no such thing to pass on. So they hold themselves not guilty. They don't think they should be paying for anything. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherd keep them not. Yeah, you're doing all these time the black church. It's fairly quiet. Even until now. A bunch of cowards. They have been bought and paid for. That's why I would tell our people, you all need to come into the truth. Come on in General YAHANNA. Get some honor and some dignity. We're following these black preachers. I mean, these preachers, whether they're black or they're white, they follow them, you're going down a path of destruction with them. Right? There has never been, there's no game we can look at today and say, all right, because the black church, we have this community and people is here to live, is able to live peaceably in this town for the past 100 years. The America as a country has been around since longest of while. You have business there that has been able to pass on from generation, white business, from generation to generation, thus building their generational wealth. But at the same time, they come up with the Ku Klux Klan, Night Riders, all kind of other organizations, skinheads, plus it come up and see any of them who secretly take out, undermine and take out black communities back in the days, and today they are doing no much different. You see what they're talking about? Today now they're marching out the soldiers about crime. But at the same time when they're talking about crime, who do you think they're blaming for this crime? They march out soldiers. Back then, they would say some black man in these communities sexual assault or outright rape a white female. They can't come with that narrative again. You know what's the narrative now? That the blacks are committing most of the crime. But the most is like we pray for the internet to be open up. I have a video right here with their own white child managed to follow the statistics and see that it's his own people committing the majority of crime. Alright, I'm going to play that one. And then we're going to move some more scriptures. I don't know, make sure it's everything queued up right. Time to play now.
Is he lying?
If you seriously believe the 13% of the population and 50% of the crime, you need to get fact checked, and I'm about to do it to you.
Right, because this is what the politicians say. 13% of the population committing 50% of the crime. This white boy is telling you the facts.
In 2016, white people committed 70% of the convicted crime, and black people only committed 27%. Then in 2017, white people committed 68% of the reported crime, and black people only committed 26% of it. And in 2024, white people committed 53% of the reported crime, while black people only committed 25%. So this narrative on 13% of the population, 50% of the crime is wrong. You know who actually commits 50% of the crime? White people. But guess what stat black people are 13% of the population and 50% in? Exonerations. When they're...
So he's telling us straight, what black people is leading in 13%, 50% is leading in exoneration. You know, crime that you are convicted for that you didn't really commit.
They're wrongly convicted. All you're doing by spreading this fake fact is allowing more people to profile and be racist towards black people. What's the highest percentage of people who are victims of white people? Black people. And if you look at all the shootings, guess who are the shooters? White dudes. So let's all think long and hard on who actually commits 50% of the crime.
As we see, there's a lot of suburban thugs.
The population and 50% of the crime, you need to get fact checked, and I'm about to do it to you. In 2016, white people committed 70% of the convicted crime, and black people only committed 27%. Then in 2017, white people committed 68% of the reported crime, and black people only committed 26% of it. And in 2024, white people committed 53% of the reported crime, while black people only committed 25%. So this narrative on...
So, you know, basically, you know, in Jamaica, I remember growing up, there was a lot of black-owned business, but they had black-owned businesses. Like I always say, Westmoreland was one town which probably have about 80 to 90% of black business. That's not so. You know what they use to destroy the black businesses? Inflation. Inflation destroy the black businesses. And we see coming in now. Especially the Chinese. I don't see much white people in the town here as doing business with Chinese. You know, few Indians, but also the Chinese.
13% of the population, 50% of the crime is wrong. You know who actually commits 50% of the crime? White people. But guess what stat black people are 13% of the population and 50% in? Exonerations. You know, when they're wrongly convicted, all you're doing by spreading this fake fact is allowing more people to profile and be racist towards black people. What's the highest percentage of people who are victims of white people? Black people. And if you look at all the shootings, guess who are the shooters? White dudes. So let's all think long and hard on who actually commits 50% of the crime.
You see these signs out here? This is what we...
Right, so, I mean, that's it, you know, who's committing the crimes? Like people have been committing crime from going back against blacks. Lynching, you know, all kind of things. Kill us in all over there. On to our steps, they kill us. I guess thriving black we might have you have blacks who have business, you know, but you know, black community people there thriving really. You know, some that they see it from back then. But it's mixed. That's only why it's in the main business. I want them to touch on the inventors of potato chips. Never believe that for another. I don't believe in some scriptures now. I don't believe right into some more scriptures coming up on the time. Micah chapter 4, verse 10 to 13. Micah. And Micah was from the time of when we were in the land of Jerusalem as a people. Right? So in Micah chapter 4, it describes, can't you believe it? Describe what is happening today. Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. There shalt thou be delivered. There the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemies. So, in my time, telling you, go to Babylon. Yeah. There you shall be delivered. There the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemies. We are under Babylon today. We are under Babylon today. So most I tell you that, this is where we're going to be redeemed from. Right under Babylon. Now also, many nations are gathered again. Now this is also one of the important parts. Listen to the scripture. Many nations are gathered against thee that say, let her be defiled, and let our eyes look upon Zion. Let her be defiled. Basically, they are saying, let you stay in your sin. How they do this? They produce the unclean meats for you to eat. They tell you the laws are done away with. And they don't just tell you that word of mouth. They tell you that in the churches take away the importance of keeping the laws. Telling you that the laws are done away with. But if the church won't believe the laws are done away with, they can't believe anything. The white church can't believe anything, It's what you, the Israelites, believe, You're supposed to follow the laws they were given unto you. You are the ones that are a peculiar people unto the Most High God. Verse 12. But they know not the thoughts of the Lord. They know not the thoughts of the Lord, neither understand they his counsel, for he shall gather them as the sheaves into the flock. So this is how he's going to treat these nations. He's going to gather them right there in the valley of Jehoshaphat. 13. Arise and dress, O daughter of Zion. Alright, so we become now the daughter of Zion. Because that earlier Zion, whole Jerusalem, destroyed, but the children are still here, They are the daughter of Zion. For I will make thine horn iron, and I will make thy oath brass, and thou shalt beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain unto the Lord, and their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. Speaking to the Israelites. I want to find this scripture now where look around on the 7. The most I tell you that you are a holy people unto him. Right, Deuteronomy 7. Remember, numbers. I don't know the numbers. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Although I don't tell the people on the Deuteronomy 7 verse 6. I'm going to close out with that. Book of Deuteronomy 7 chapter 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So, this shows that there is a set of people that the Most High choose that are not like the other people on the earth. Right? And these were the 12 tribes of Israel, who are today the blacks, Hispanics, and natives. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are natives around, we just say native, around the side of the earth. There are natives in the Caribbean. Right? So, these are the people of God who was chosen by God to be special unto him, are holy unto him. Holy meaning separate, which means these people do not operate in the same. They don't eat the same food. They don't live by the same laws. They don't have sex the same way. Right? The mother nation do. The two men want go on together and do business. Our laws do not support any such thing. Right? Our laws say man and woman and woman should not be together. Our laws say be clean. Our laws say don't keep Christmas. Our laws give you the holy days that you should keep. Right? The day that should be the Sabbath. When should be the beginning of time unto you, which is spring. People try to tell I've heard people say, nobody don't know when, blah, blah, blah. Yet still they will tell you that they are in the year 2025, which means that they have been keeping track of time for over 2,000 years now. They've been keeping track of time for over 2025 years now. Also, when it touched that time in December, everybody started to make the changes for winter. And they know when spring comes around. They're going to tell you, no one knows the time. That the Bible said, our time begin, our year, beginning of the year, our months begin with spring. Not January, but spring. That is our law. So this is what we have to go back to. This is what we keep here in the ISUPK. We encourage people. Come on, be a part of the ISUPK and come on in general and learn the true ways to keep the laws of God so that we can get up from among ourselves. You're feeling them hurt, but you just don't know is them behind it. They are behind all the hurt that you are feeling. I mean, tomorrow is what? Election day in Jamaica. Right? I mean, what is going to change? I think much going to change. The change party, I keep the same party. I'm not going to change. What should we do is keep the Most High's laws so that Christ can return, so that we can bring back Christ. The more of us keep the laws, the more Christ sees fit to, the Most High sees fit to send back Christ to go and get his people. Alright, so that's that for this week. Even on that note, we are indeed God's select, God's elect, God's holy people. We should return to that. God will say shalom until we meet again. Until next week, till we meet again. Shalom.